Good morning, and we're in chapter 34. And since last time in chapter 30, we do have some chapters that are really good to read if you get a chance. We've got the Song of Moses, we've got the blessings that Moses gives to the Israelites, and blessing Joseph above all. And I just think there's a lot in there, but we're coming to the end of Moses' life, and this is the last moment he gets to see the land of the promised land. They've already got the lands for on the west side. Now they need to get the east side of the promised land. And Moses went up to the plains of Moab and the mountain of Nebo and the top of Pisgah, that is over against or juxtaposed or whatever you want to call it to Jericho. And the Lord showed him the land of Gilead unto Dan, and all Naphtali, and land of Ephraim, and Manasseh, the land of Judah. Notice he's already saying these are the lands that we're going to see, that we're going to have, and he's not saying the land of the Canaanites or the the Hittites or anything like that. He is saying, I see the land of Ephraim, land of Manasseh, land of Judah, unto the utmost sea, which is the Mediterranean Sea, and the south, and the plain of the valley of Jericho, and the city of palm trees, unto Zor. And the Lord said unto him, This is the land which I swore unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, saying, I will give unto thy seed. I have caused thee to see it with thine eyes, but thou shalt not go hither. He has given him such a promise. I think Moses accepts that he wouldn't go in there, but he also must feel blessed to be able to see the land for himself. And remember, he says, I swear unto Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. He says that. How many times has he said that this whole time? That is important, that the Lord is going in and blessing these patriarchs generations later. So Moses, the servant of the Lord, died there in the land of Moab, according to the word of the Lord. Now we have a little note here on the right-hand side. What happened to Moses at the end of his life? At the end of his life, Moses went to the top of Mount Nebo, from whence he viewed the promised land. The biblical text states that Moses died near Mount Nebo in the land of Moab. The Joseph Smith translation clarifies that Moses was not buried in the land of Moab, but instead the Lord took him unto his fathers in a valley in the land of Moab. Therefore no man knoweth of his sepulchre unto this day. The Book of Mormon affirms that at the end of Moses' life, the Lord took Moses unto himself. President Bud Packer taught that, like Elijah, Moses was translated, taken from the earth without experiencing mortal death. There were things that both Elijah and Moses must pass on to others in the flesh, in the generations that were still to come, that they would, and they would come back to earth to do that before experiencing the change from mortality to resurrected being. As a translated being, Moses appeared at the Mount of Transfiguration and bestowed the priesthood keys upon Peter, James, and John. And we've understood that to be the case, that he couldn't have done that if the resurrection hadn't happened, then he had to have been a translated being. And he buried him in the valley. Notice, as in the Lord, buried him in the valley of the land of Moab, over against Beth-peor. But no man knoweth of his sepulchre unto this day. Now, remember, this couldn't have been written by Moses because he's died. But those people that wrote this would have seen him go and not come back. He may have even said, I'm going and I'm not coming back. And they would take it as, oh, he died. Remember, even when Jesus died and rose the third day, there were people who didn't believe, people who believed him, who had a hard time believing that he rose and that he was resurrected. Why? Because nobody else had done that. Maybe that's the same here. And Moses was 120 years old, so he's quite old anyway. This old man going into the desert or up in the mountains might have seemed a bit much. His eyes was not dim, nor his natural force abated. He had a lot of vigor and vitality in him. The children of Israel wept for Moses in the plains of Moab 30 days, so the days of weeping and mourning of Moses were ended. And Joshua the son of Nun was full of the spirit of wisdom, for Moses had laid his hands upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened unto him, and did as the Lord commanded Moses. And notice this change in power. They knew Joshua was to lead them next. And there arose not a prophet since in Israel like unto Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face. In all the signs and wonders which the Lord sent him to do in the land of Egypt, to Pharaoh and to all his servants and to all his lands, in all that mighty hand or that power, and in the great terror, the awesome power or awesomeness which Moses showed the sight of all Israel. There was this great, amazing experience, and now his life has ended. And true enough, he was a prophet that nobody else will ever forget. And I think that's an important part of the story. Now we're going to move on and see what happens as they go into the promised land. And we'll do that next time.